Yeah, this is really unbelievable to me, particularly since I grew up in Southbury back in the 60s and 70s. So I know this town like the back of my hand. I've talked to some friends and family down there yesterday, and thankfully they're okay. Also, people are stranded in Kettletown State Park, which is right there in Southbury. So far, we still have the flood warning alerts, aerial flood warning for all of that area down in New Haven County, Fairfield County, and also the flood warnings are also in effect for the Still Rivers and the Housatonic Rivers down in that area. Live Doppler radar shows the good news right now is there is no rain in that area. It's all confined to eastern Connecticut, thankfully, because a batch of moderate to heavy rain with even some thunderstorms worked up out of Long Island Sound and ended up missing that area overnight. We got flood warnings and advisories also down in Long Island Sound. Our next system we have to worry about will be coming in later on this afternoon. This is a cold front, and this front is going to move in our direction. If we get a little bit of sunshine, we're going to spark up the atmosphere and could have some strong thunderstorms later on this afternoon into this evening ahead of that cold front. Well, this is just a preliminary amount, and more numbers are coming in. 13.5, but I just had another check. It's over 14 inches of rain. This was as 11 o'clock last night. So this is all that rain from Norwalk to Reading. Look at the Oxford, 13.5 inches. This is the kind of rain you get in a hurricane and a tropical system. This is incredible, that 4 to 6 hours of very heavy rain, unbelievable flooding has occurred there. Temperatures in the 60s and lower 70s. We see that visibilities are down with the moisture in place. We put this into motion for this morning. We're okay there in that region. We get to finish up that rain. Notice at 2 o'clock we're cloudy. And then as we head towards 7, 8 o'clock, that's when that line of showers and thunderstorms. The good news about this system is it will be moving along. So I do not expect this to be stalling out. Coming up, I will detail what you can expect this week. Once we get by this, I have some real good news on the Fox 61 7-day forecast. Details coming up in a few minutes. Tim?
Okay, Sam, thank you. All right, let's continue our coverage this morning on that major flooding across the state.
Now let's check in with Fox 61's Brooke Griffin, who's joining us in Oxford now, where parts of the road were washed away. Brooke, what else are you seeing out there this morning?
Yeah, so far just a lot of road closures here in Oxford. So right now we are having a little bit of a blockage from this police car. This is on Oxford Road right by the Lodge Bar and Grill. So this is if you're heading into town. Until a few minutes ago, he wasn't letting anybody pass by. There was actually a car down a little ways down the road that was flooded out, and they did get that towed away. So they are slowly but surely opening in the pathway to the actual town of Oxford. But as you guys said, this is the highest rainfall accumulation so far in Connecticut. That was that 13-inch mark. The Stevenson Dam is also being monitored. If we want to take a look at the video that was happening from yesterday evening, just insane, incredible video showing how much water was coming through the area. Stevenson Dam is being monitored as we get close to and eventually exceed that flood stage. Several roads are washed out or flooded, including Route 34 in several spots. That's where we're headed to next. And lots are completely closed this morning. I do know that about 100 water rescues happened through the state, many of them in New Haven County and Fairfield County. And several nearby rivers have also reached flood stage. Now, the big one to watch this morning is also Shelton, because that is downriver from the dam. It's also downriver from Oxford, where we are now. This is all supposed to, according to the National Weather Service, kind of ease off, though, by about 12:30 today. They say even with the rain that's still coming through, they do expect those levels to even out a little bit. So we'll be here in Oxford all morning. We'll be watching what's happening. Stay tuned, because we're definitely going to head down to that dam and see what the road situation is like later on. Live in Oxford, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Okay, Brooke, thank you. Stay safe out there. Now, last night, Fox 61 also traveled down to some of the hardest hit areas to survey the floodwaters. It was so bad our crews had trouble navigating even the main roads. Here's Jake Garcia with an up-close look.
This has been the scene across much of the state today, with floodwaters causing road closures and leaving many drivers stranded, including some that had to be rescued from rushing water. Sunday's rain causing flash flooding across the state as rivers and creeks overflowed their banks. The downpours overwhelming drainage, causing flooding, especially in low-lying areas. This video shows just how high the water got, submerging cars near the Southbury Plaza.
There's all rivers around here, so it floods pretty bad, but first time we've seen something like that.
Tanya and her husband Andrew were waiting out the storm in their car when they noticed the rising waters.
But before we knew it, we looked up and there was a new car in the middle of the intersection that wasn't there before. And then we realized there was somebody in it. The guy was having a hard time getting out of the car, and then he said his dog was in the car. And
Partridge says he was going to help, but a good Samaritan already sprung into action.
And by the time I ran down there, he had already had the guy and the dog out of the car, and he was coming back out with the prosthetic leg held over his head.
A couple of hours later, this is how the intersection looked, with muddy streets and abandoned cars as the cleanup continued. The couple says this is something they won't soon forget, and even in the rain, this gives them a ray of hope.
Gives you faith in humanity. Maybe it's not so bad as everybody makes it out to be,
Yeah.
Officials say this flash flooding that we've seen this weekend can be deadly, and they want to remind drivers that if you see roadways just like this one covered in water, to make sure you turn around and go the other direction. Reporting in Oxford, Jake Garcia, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Jake, thank you. Of course, the governor concurs. Here's what he said in a statement released last night. Quote, "This was an historic storm in some areas of Connecticut. Once daylight occurs, crews will be out to survey damage and begin cleanup. If you live in the western portion of Connecticut, we are urging you to stay home if you can until the flooding has receded, and don't attempt to drive through any flooded roads."
Central Connecticut also experiencing high water in some flood-prone areas. Jim sent us these pics of the situation Sunday in Farmington, where Main Street looked more like a pond or river. And firefighters in the Hawleyville section of Newtown were busy with calls for cars stuck in the quick rising flood waters. We always tell you all, turn around, do not drown. Firefighters urge everyone to stay home if they don't have to be out, especially with many roads still closed at this hour.
And to stay on top of all the severe flooding impacting parts of Connecticut, download the Fox 61 News app. You can do it by scanning the QR code on your screen, or you can just get the news from our website, fox61.com, anytime.